Hello YouTube, this is Durson59 coming at you with a small kind of review slash TV show recap. Let me get some music going here for this. If you can't already hear it, this will be a review of the recent episode, Season 5, Episode 10 of Game of Thrones, which I just finished watching. Not that I haven't seen it before, but more so just giving you a little bit of recap and the type of things that I think I'm going to happen to see here in Season 6, which happens actually tonight. And today is April 24th. So tonight at, I think it's 9 o'clock Central Time for me. For everyone else, it all varies, but that's on wherever you are at. I'm pretty excited. But first, let's get to the review here on it. There you go. That's the song. So, the review for Season 10. Here's my little review. Season 10. I mean, Season 5, Episode 10. So, a little recap on everything that's happening. Spoiler alert, if you haven't already seen it. I don't know why you haven't already seen it. It's a great show. Everyone loves it. So, really behind the ball on this one. But, so Season 10 starts off with the final battle at Winterfell, which was a huge thing. For Stannis, unfortunately, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert here, Stannis supposedly dies. Now, we see Brienne of Tarth actually fulfill her vow that she had to Stannis' brother. Well, we don't actually see anything happen, although we can pretty much come to the idea that he did die. Now, for me, this is one of my own personal ideas, is that I think that she finally saw him and saw him on how bad he was not, that he was kind of, what's that word I'm looking for? Kind of a little weenie, basically, and I don't think that she actually killed him. I think she probably maybe scarred him, or did hit him with a sword, but not, chopped off his head, because it's a pretty quick blow to go, just horizontal. He was already sitting next to a tree, so just right at the head, and, you could go. Something with a slash where she comes down over the top, and goes in a downward angle. It kind of pushes me to think that she didn't really kill him. Maybe she cut off his leg or arm or something. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. I didn't, think that he was really dead. But again, that is just something that I am thinking of. Um, Something that I think of, one of my little tiny ideas. We'll see. We'll see on Season 6 here. Another thing that happens is finally Theon Greyjoy finally steps up and helps out Sansa Stark. Now, the whole problem with the Stark family is it is so tough to be a Stark, and how hard it is to be in that family, because you kept on getting walked over and walked over all of the time. And those who have seen the episode know what I'm talking about towards the end there, at the very end. But we'll get to that in a little bit. But we'll go with Sansa Stark for right now, and her on Theon. Theon finally comes up clutch in the final moments, which is, for me personally, a little late. I'm like, really, dude, you could have done something a lot earlier, especially a couple episodes prior to this. And if you've seen the show, you know what I'm talking about, especially because he was in the same room with them, and it's just not very good. But all right, congratulations. Here we go. Thank you, Theon. A little late for me though to the party, but jumping out of Winterfell, that seems a little that's a little much. So we'll see. We'll see on that. We'll see on how they do. I'm pretty sure you'd break your legs, if not already die at that point from jumping off from that type of height. But it's fantasy. That's the thing. What else happens in Season 10? Going back onto it. Oh, the House of Black and White. So then we have also Arya Stark, and she's trying to be assassin, and she's at the House of Black and White. She takes a face and goes kills one of the king's guardmen. I can't think of his name, but he's a really big d-bag, and we all know who we're talking about here. The episode previous to that, he does some pretty dirty things at the House of Ill Repute, and you know what I'm talking about, not the actual house, but you know what I'm talking about when I say that. So that was a little bad. She ends up getting him in the end. Um, Goes back to the House Black and White and puts the face back, and then finally learns that, hey, I am gonna be an assassin, but I need to be nobody. And that's the whole thing that they've been trying to get across to her, which she hasn't quite comprehended. And I don't know how you don't get that. I mean, they're supposed to be the faceless men, and they're faceless. They have no feelings. There is no this is me. There is no revenge, and she just committed an act of revenge. So therefore, whoever it was, now back to this is really weird for me because it seems so her friend, the red haired guy, I don't even know his name either. There's so many dang names in this show that you just keep on forgetting them all. But I think everyone knows who I'm talking about. And he takes the poison, and then he's actually right behind her instead. Which okay, so everyone only has one face, but how is there more than one face on that? And then did they drug her prior to this? Because she takes off all the different faces, and she finally comes to her face, and it's like, okay, so are there like multiple faces? How can you get multiple faces off people that have already died that you've cut their faces off and washed their bodies? I just don't get it. But that is what it is. Again, fantasy. So we'll chalk it up to fantasy something. Uh, and then another part of the episode. So we'll go across the sea all the way over to the uh, outside of Marine, I guess, to the west of Marine, wherever that is. I'll have to look it up on the map that I have. Anyways, so Daenerys gets saved by her dragon. Her dragon takes her off and flies to this big old plateau. And of course, this was during the battle when the five daggers or the when those assassins are coming to get her, the dragon finally comes down in the middle of the battle, picks her up, flies her off to safety and everything. But he does sustain quite a bit of damage, a couple, not harpoons, but spears and whatnot, and cuts and stuff like that. And they get up there, and we don't know how long they've been flying around for, but we can. I'm gonna assume that it's only been for maybe an hour, a couple hours, or something like that. So they end up there, and then of course she just wants to go back home, which, okay, this dragon just saved your life, lady, and he's hurt, he's tired. That would probably tire me out too, especially getting cuts all over my body, and I'm hauling around this girl who's my mother, and I get it. I mean, he's tired, and let his wounds heal, a little bit before oh, I'm just gonna go. So maybe a couple hours, maybe a day or so. That's as far as I could get, because that was it. So she decides to walk off the plateau to go find food and stuff like that. Which, okay, you can survive without water for about 3 days. I don't think he's gonna take 3 days to recoup and stuff like that. He is a dragon, and he's probably gonna have to eat a lot more than she would. So he's probably gonna go find food like maybe in an hour and a half or so or something when he wakes up, because I mean he's a huge creature. I mean I don't think they're like Komodo dragons where they eat once a month or once every 7 days or something like that. But you know he'll be flying around again eventually. So she decides to go down, and then she meets the Dothraki. I don't know why she was kind of surprised by it, but she looked a little surprised. I really don't think she was very surprised. I wasn't very surprised. Don't know why she was surprised. It was really green. They do live in kind of a desert, arid area, but they could have just come back from a battle or destroying a village, or who knows. We will find out. She drops her ring, which is a pretty good idea to help The others find her on their way out, on their way to find her. That's a good telltale sign. Okay, she's been here. Here's her ring. All right, well now we got a general idea. So that was a good idea. Tyrion is back in Marine. He is there with Grey Worm and Sorsh, the other woman, her confidant, and they're going to be running Marine. Varys shows up at the end, which is actually pretty cool. Varys and Tyrion are two of one of my favorite characters in the show, besides pretty much all the Stark family. Um, I guess except for Brent, Bran. He's not. He, um, no, thank you. But anyways, so they're in charge with time to deal with the city now that the queen is gone for the time being. Well, Jorah Mormont is off trying to find her. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. So that's all going on there on that side of the ocean. Now we're going to go down south of the Seven Kingdoms there, south of King's Landing, um, down over to where King Joffrey, uh, down to where Jaime Lannister is. I think that is I can't remember the name of the place. There's so many, I just can't. And the videos, new videos and stuff. Anyways, so he's down there, he's picking up his daughter. And of course, they're trying to kill a daughter, and there's a little anarchy going on between the king down there and everybody else, and there's a whole other thing. So Jaime Lannister's daughter, I feel bad for the guy because almost every season you think he's gonna pull ahead and he's gonna, he kind of gets forgiven for some of his stuff, but at the very end, then something else happens, or he has to make another horrible life choice, which is just not cool. So he finally gets enough gonads to go tell his daughter that he is the father, and he didn't, and she was okay with it, and she already knew about it, so that was pretty cool. And he had this touching moment, but then she was poisoned, so then she dies right away. So there goes the shitty life of Jaime Lannister again. So that'll be interesting to see. So then we'll go back. Then we'll go up to King's Landing here now. So now up in King's Landing, you have Cersei, and she just confessed for her sin of being adulterous with the cousin, and everyone's like, oh, okay. High Sparrow believes that. She actually straight up lies to the High Sparrow's face when he's asked her about the incest allegations, and she says, no, that's completely false, but, come on, Ned Stark was already onto it, and, he was a guy from the north, and no one really cared about him. They thought he was kind of dumb anyways, and he figured it out pretty quick. So, yeah, I don't know how that one just slipped by the High Sparrow like nothing, but maybe he does know, maybe he's just kind of, hey, I do know, but we'll see, again, Season 6. So she has to do kind of basically like the walk of shame, kind of reverse-wise, or, postpone walk of shame, I guess. So he'll go and do that. She goes and does that. She does walk of shame. She goes completely naked, walks through the streets, King's Landing, and they're all throwing stuff at her, calling her names, spitting on her, all this other crazy stuff. At this point, I know it sounds really bad, but okay, Cersei, you've done a lot of really horrible things, and at this point, I'm sorry, my heart doesn't feel that bad for you right now. Okay, I'll take that back for just a second, but the first time I saw it, it was shocking. It was like, oh my gosh, and then, she's walking through it, but then you keep on thinking, for me, kept on thinking, she did kind of get this, she kind of did this to herself, She was horrible to everyone. I mean, Lady Marjorie is still there with the High Sparrow and still in that dungeon, for that reason. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what reason it was. But, that was Cersei's fault right there. Killing Ned Stark basically was kind of the same thing. And then they kind of glossed over, yeah, she slept with her cousin and then killed the king. And then it's like, okay, and they kind of let that one slide, because they said, you killed Robert, and she didn't deny that, nor did she say anything about it. So I don't know how that one just kind of slipped through the cracks. But there was that too, among other things, and then she wanted Bran killed. I mean, first off, I believe. Oh, did she want Bran killed in the first season? I can't remember. Or the first episode of the first season. Can't remember. It was such a long time ago. I haven't watched it in a long time. Maybe. We'll see. I can't remember, but I don't. Sure, why not? No, no, no. I don't know. Anyways, that's besides the point. I'll get back to it. Um, so yeah, so she kind of has been doing all these crappy things to all these different people, and she had Joffrey wrapped around her finger and everything. She did that, and now her other son, she's kind of trying to get wrapped around her finger. Say, hey, Marjorie's bad. That's why she ended up with the High Sparrow and all this other stuff. Because she knew about her brother. That's why Marjorie knew about her brother who liked other men, and yeah, that's why she ended up in there. That's right. Now I'm starting to remember a little bit. So there's that. So when she's walking through the streets and everything, I'm not really too, I'm like, you kind of deserved it for the past 5 seasons. You've been kind of a bee to everybody, so I'm not really too sorry about that. It was really cool at the end when you see the mountain, or I don't know what the name is going to be, what they're going to use, but the mountain came back to life basically, and he looks super BA. I mean, purple eyes and everything, or purple around his face. So that's going to be really cool to see him. And she kind of, when he picks her up at the end, she kind of looks like, oh yeah, you are all in for it, because the only one is the one maester who was really into her, was helping her out pretty much, um, which is kind of good for him, I guess. Maybe he sees something coming that the others don't, and definitely Cersei knows that she's going to be doing some pretty bad stuff to these people now that she's out. I don't think she'll ever go back or go to trial for the whole any of her other sins that she's been brought up against, or charges that she'll be brought up against. So we'll see. We'll see how that battle is going to take place. I'm sure there's going to be a pretty big, should be a significant battle. I mean, even though the High Sparrow and his men don't seem like they got much against people that are on armored horses, or just being basically covered in knight's armor. I mean, come on, that's really, Kingsguard is there for that. So I don't know how they did that. So we'll see. Uh, And then this is going to bring me to the very end. This is going to be the very end of my review here of, review slash recap of Season 5, Episode 10. Mother's Mercy is the title of that, or the Mother's Mercy. We're going to get to Jon Snow. So, unfortunately, uh, Jon Snow is at Castle Black, as we all know, and episode prior to this, he just came back from Home Hall. We saw that battle. That was to save the wildlings. So now everyone at the Night's Watch, most of the people at Night's Watch are kind of pissy at him. And he sends his best friend off to become a maester in Old Town. Sam? Was it Sam? No, it's not Sam, too, is it? Well, sends his friend off to Old Town to become a maester so he can come back and help the next Night's Watch commander. Now, yeah, it's Sam. Sam Tully. So if he would have stayed there, he probably would have had helped Jon out, and it wouldn't have happened to Jon. But we'll get to that in a second. So he sends him off to Old Town, and him and Gilly and the son out there so they can survive and be good. And he can be a maester and then come back and help Night's Watch commander. So, there he goes. And then so it comes towards the end of the episode here, and Ollie comes rushing up, and says, hey, we know about your Uncle Benjen, and he's, first ranger and stuff, and he went out, and think it was the first season. He goes out as the first ranger and he just never comes back. We don't know what happened to him. He could be alive. His horse ends up coming back, and I can't remember what season that one was. But his horse comes back, and we don't know what happened to him, and I don't even know if he's dead or not because you don't see anything. And in this show, anything basically happened. Ned Stark's head was decapitated in the first one. First he decapitated Boy's head, and then his head gets decapitated. So you never know how the show is going to end up. Um, so there's that. They said they know something about it. Wyling knows something about it. So he goes down, and sure enough, it's half of the Night's Watch, or a little bit, or a third, or however many there are. There's only supposed to be a couple hundred there, and I think it was something like 200 are only supposed to be there. So I don't know, maybe a handful there. It seemed like there was maybe about 10 to 15 people there. And so they come up and they're standing next to this, basically kind of a cross saying, a traitor. And so John kind of turns around and is like, okay, well, this is it, right? So all these guys from the Night Watch basically stab him at the very end. Ollie, the kid that he helped, that he was helping out, became his steward, basically stabs him in the heart, and then he dies. Supposedly. So here we go with, like I was mentioning earlier, about how crazy the show is and how different this is. So he ends up dying, or we think dies. He, falls down in a pool of blood and everything, and they're all saying for the Night's Watch and all this other stuff. And like I was saying earlier, to be a Stark is really bad. Now we're gonna get back to. That's what the recap was for season 10. Now, what I think what might happen in season 6 is, excuse me, is that here we go with all that, and now we are at season 6 opening up, and everyone doesn't know what's going to happen to Jon Snow. Personally, what I think is going to happen is that they're going to try to burn him, and then when they burn him, going back to any of the other ideas or stuff floating around the internet that you know of. But one of the things I know of is that he's not actually Ned Stark's son. He could possibly be Targaryen and Stark son, actually Ned's sister, Lyanna, who, if you remember from the first season, Robert started Robert started a war about this. It's called Robert's Rebellion, Robert's War. He started a war about this because one of the Targaryen princes took his quote-unquote, girlfriend that loved him and basically stole her away, and then possibly could have raped her and everything like that. We'll see on season 6 on how this is going to turn out, but I personally think that this fan theory kind of pans out where it's actually Jon Snow is Lyanna and the Targaryen's son, and then they both die and stuff, and then Ned basically adopts a kid into him, and says, hey, he's my kid. I slept with this girl back in town. She popped out this kid, and we were at war, and here he is. So I think they're gonna burn him, and being that he's got Targaryen blood in him, just kind of like Daenerys was, he's gonna rise up out of the flames. Rise up out of the flames, or be there and come back to life, or whatever, That is one theory. Then there's also the Red Witch, as they like to call her. She's also there, and I'm thinking that either, she talks about the one true God, and the Brothers Without Banners, and one of their wizards or whatever was there too, and helped that one guy come back to life over and over again. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe she's going to bring him back to life. Maybe it's not the fire. Maybe that she's going to bring him back to life, and he's going to remember all this stuff. We don't know yet, but season 6 is literally like 4 or 5 hours away from now. Well, no, actually, 4 hours. 4 hours and a half or so away from now. So we'll see. We'll definitely see on what's going to happen after that. That is one of the theories that I think is going to happen. Back to it, we'll go to, well, that'll be basically it. Let's just wrap this up here. Little review what I think is going to happen for season 6. I think those are some of the things. I think that would be good. I mean, basically the only part that I really care about is Jon Snow. Like I said, being a Stark sucks, and being in Westeros and being a Stark is just really crappy. Like Arya losing her eyesight, or Sansa and her crazy husband, or Ned Stark and losing your head, or being one of the brothers during the Red Wedding, or the mother, all they're doing is getting just slaughtered, and nothing's happening, and it's starting to wear on me where I'm like, come on, you need to do something. So we'll see here in season 6 what actually happens. Hopefully the Starks will finally get their retribution. So we'll find out. We'll find out very, very shortly. Um, and look for that video. I will be doing a review video right after that, right after I watch that episode. So stay tuned. I'm excited for it. I hope you are all excited for it. And if you like the video, again, give me that thumbs up down there or a thumbs down, depending on what you wanna do. More Game of Thrones videos and reviews and stuff will coming back. All this season I'll be doing season 6 of that, doing reviews every Sunday night. We'll try to get that up on Sunday night if I can. If not, early Monday morning. We'll see. But I'm gonna try to do the initial reaction and stuff like that right after the episode because those are always fun to watch. So again, if you like the video, thumbs up, not thumbs down. If you like the content, like any of my other videos or my channel at all, please hit that sub button down below. And thank you all for watching. And this is Deerson59 now signing off from the bunker. Have a good night.